Sorry that last video was so short. I had some issues, but everything's fine. Don't worry. Number one rule in life, don't panic. Okay, apply a content aware patch is what we're now going to use. We're going to use the patch tool to remove large unwanted elements. And what we're going to remove is this dude that hopped in our picture. We don't want him part of our family. So we're going to remove him using the content aware mode. The patch tool is going to create nearly seamless blending with the nearby content. In the tools panel, we want to select the object selection tool, which is right here above the crop tool. There's your object selection tool. If you hovered over each person without clicking, each person highlights when you hover the mouse over it. The object selection tool automatically detects objects. Clicking a highlighted area selects it, but if the highlight doesn't include the entire subject, the selection will be incomplete. To help ensure a more complete selection, we're going to drag the tool instead. So we're going to drag the object selection tool around the boy and release the mouse. So click right up here and drag it around him and release the mouse, and it's thinking. The resulting selection fits the entire boy and his shadow. If some outer edges aren't fully selected, such as the boy's hair, expanding the selection is a quick way to include them. So if you click select and then go down to modify and then expand and enter 2, the number 2, and then click OK. That expands your selection. In the Tools panel, select the Patch tool, which is hidden under the Spot Healing Brush tool. So I'm going to right click and there's our Patch tool. Select that. Choose Content Aware from the Patch menu. I'm crazy. Content Aware right there. Look what I did. Content aware, and we want the type 4 into the structure slider. As long as the patch tool selection is active, you can change the structure value in the options bar to adjust how the patch matches the surrounding area. Position the pointer within the selection, and we're going to drag it to the left to replace the boy with the wall and the background without including the woman and child. Watch the patch preview and release the mouse button when the patch looks good. So we're going to click on this and we're going to drag it over to the left until it, let's make it down a little because we're going to show you how we're going to fix that later. All right. Once you do that, the boy is gone. Where he stood is a select section of the bridge in the building. So I'm going to do Command or Control D, and that deselects him. And you see you can still see it, but you can see some stuff is messed up, and we're going to fix all that later. So let me ask you this. What's the difference between the healing brush tool and the spot healing brush tool? The difference is the healing brush tool requires you to sample source points, and we're going to do that here shortly. I may or may not have just told you a quiz question. So using the clone stamp tool uses pixels from one area of an image to replace the pixels in another part of the image. Using this tool, not only can you remove unwanted objects from your images, but you can also fill in missing areas in the photographs you scan from damaged originals. We're going to use the clone stamp tool to smooth out irregularities in the height of the bridge wall and the windows on the building, making the patch edge match up better. Select the clone stamp tool in the tools panel. Get over here. There is your clone stamp tool. So select that. And we're going to go up here to your brush, and we want this to be 60 pixels. And the hardness, we want it to be 30%, 60 and 30. Make sure the align object is selected. This little check thing right here should be selected. You may need to set a larger brush size when editing higher resolution images, but for this, it's going to be fine. Move the clone stamp tool to an area where the top of the bridge wall is smooth. That's the area that we want to copy to smooth out the patched area. So right down here is what we're talking about. If you're on a Windows computer, you're going to do Alt and then click with the mouse. If you're on a Mac computer, you'll do Option and click with the mouse right here on that wall. And you see how it changed that? You had little target crosshairs. And we're going to drag the clone stamp tool across the top of the bridge wall in the patched area to even it out. And then we'll release the mouse button. Sample, drag. It's got another text. So that looks better. Doesn't look perfect, but it did. Each time you click the clone stamp tool, it begins again with a new source point, maintaining its position relative to the first stroke you made. That is, if you began painting farther right, it samples from stone that's farther right than the original source point. That's because aligned is selected in the options bar. Deselect aligned if you want to start from the same point each time. Unlike the spot healing brush and the patch tools you used earlier, the clone stamp tool doesn't try to make edits seamless. It simply copies pixels from the source point to where you drag, so it may take more manual work to make an edit look good. You saw that I had to do that several times to get that like it was. So select a source point where the bottom of the bridge wall is even, and then drag the clone stamp tool across the bottom of the wall where you patched it. So right down here, we want to, I'm going to do Option, click. And we simply want to drag that across. I am not a very good mouse drawer. I hope yours looks better than mine. I'm going to do it again. I'm not going to let it beat me. There, looks much better. I'm even going to do this so it gets rid of that. There, never knew it was there. So select a smaller brush size. So let's go up here and make this a smaller brush size. Then deselect aligned, uncheck that. Then select a source point over the rightmost windows in the lowest row of the building and click across to create accurate windows there. So over here where we have our windows, and you see how honestly, I don't know that anyone would know where there's supposed to be a window and where there's not supposed to be a window, but I just grunted. So tedious. I just made a window. Look at there. Nope. I don't like that. You know what I'm going to do? I am going to go back to my spot healing brush and I'm going to heal some of this. So play around with this until you get what you want it to look like. See, that kind of looks like all that's the same mumbo jumbo. Now I'm probably just going to mess things up. Now it looks like our building had no windows here, which there were no windows there. Anyway, get that however you like it. And now let's save our work. But let me ask you this. Where's the patch tool located? Anybody remember where the patch tool is located? It's under the spot healing brush tool. Click File, Save.